live from iRacing's virtual Richmond Raceway in Richmond, Virginia. Welcome, sim racing fans, to the Elite 8 elimination round of the North American Sim Racing Association Triple M Pulling Truck Series playoffs. It's the Tudor's Biscuit World 150, live on Racecraft TV. Happy that all of you are joining us on this beautiful Friday evening. My name is Joshua Lee. I'm joined alongside Jordan Hicks up here in the booth. And Jordan, tonight we are getting ready to to see who's going to compete to be crowned a champion next week in virtual Charlotte, because we've gone through the entire schedule up to this point. We've gone through Atlanta, Daytona, and Kansas, and now we have completed Nashville Super Speedway, and we are ready to go racing in Richmond tonight. And with only one driver now locked in, that being Stephen Thomas with his win at Nashville, there are still 7 drivers unsure if they're going to be competing for a championship in 1 week's time.
You know, definitely the pressure is on for a lot of drivers tonight, because everyone wants to just fight for that spot to really go to next week to Charlotte. And we've definitely came a long way, so these drivers have fought every single weekend and week out. So really looking forward to see what they put down on the track here tonight at Richmond.
Now, Stephen Thomas is locked in. Brady the Buff and Robbie Richards are very close to being locked in. So we're really only watching that battle for that 4th and final spot. Right now, it belongs to Devin Painter. It could go over to Logan Quinn. It could go over to Taylor Peacock. It could go over to Joey Doucette. Could go over to Jose Luis Rivera. Remember, if any of those drivers grab a win tonight, they lock themselves in and run the risk of knocking somebody else out of a championship spot. We go racing tonight from the virtual Richmond Raceway. Very, very short, under a mile, 0.75 miles, 1.2 kilometers, and opened in 1946. One of the oldest NASCAR racetracks. It used to be covered in dirt. They used to do dirt racing here, now paved over in asphalt for the NASCAR Cup Series, Xfinity Series, Truck Series, and more oval racing series. We're going racing tonight for 150 laps. Stage number 1 will conclude its way around lap number 25, with stage 2 completing around lap 50. 4 sets of tires sit these drivers in the pit lane, as well as 100% fuel in the fuel tank. So, Jordan, the usual strategy we're really going to see will come into play. These drivers can make it presumably all the way to the end of stage 2 on fuel, but the big question is, how long are those tires going to last, and how are they going to try and cut up stage number 3 to go with their fuel strategy?
And we usually say this every single race, because a lot of drivers really try and push it further and further after some drivers come in. So curious to know if we're going to see some of that tonight, but I guess whenever the pit strategy starts, that's when the timer will begin for those drivers to see if they're going to push it far, or if they're just going to bring it to the pit lane to get that done and over with and race to the checkered flag.
And that fuel window obviously is going to come into play a good bit tonight. We'll find out exactly what that fuel window is going to look like, but presumably everybody going to be in relatively the same boat. 102 to 106 laps on the fuel, so it actually looks like, Jordan, they might not even need to make a pit stop in the final stage, but that also means they need to be careful with those tires, because they can stretch 100 laps on fuel. That doesn't necessarily mean they want to stretch 100 laps on the tires. So we'll be watching very closely to see what these drivers do when it comes to the fuel strategy tonight, as we conclude up qualifying here in about 50 some odd seconds and get ready to go racing. It is the Elite 8 elimination round. We have been through 18 races. This is round number 19. In the penultimate round of the campaign. In 1 week's time, we'll be deciding a champion from the virtual Charlotte Motor Speedway. Now we need to see which drivers are going to be competing for said championship in 1 week's time. Qualifying will wrap its way up here in about 15 seconds, and then we'll get you the entire starting grid for tonight's race here from the virtual Richmond Raceway. Everybody looking forward to this one, and we'll see which drivers are going to be on top, and if the playoff drivers are going to struggle, if the playoff drivers are going to be up front, or if we're going to see a winner in the winner's circle be a non-playoff driver tonight. Time to take a look at your starting grid, and it's Jose Luis Rivera who's going to walk away with the pole position. Michael McKinnon will start to his outside in second. Joey Doucette, Blake Lothian going to share that second row with Stephen Thomas and Kyle Hess sharing row 3. Looking further back from there, it's Jacob Klinkart, Brady LaBeouf rounding out the top 8 with Taylor Peacock and Devin Painter at the tail end of your top 10. Raul Meza, Logan Quinn going to share that 6th row. Adam Newbert, Keith Bradley share row 7 with Jeffrey Sickles, Dana Shepard, Eric Zimmerman, and Cody Knott rounding out the top 18. Rounding out the field is going to be Robbie Richards, Dan Hagan, and Brandon Bullock. So 21 drivers will be strapping in to the virtual seats and getting ready to go racing tonight. And let's see what kind of weather we're dealing with here tonight. And Jordan, it's relatively cool here in Richmond, but a 79-degree track temp for a night race. Yes, that is fairly cold, but for a night race, it still is a little bit on the hot side. So grip struggles might come into play, especially on the entry to a handful of these corners.
And so that means you're really going to have to keep it really careful in that first part of that stage so you can really get it a show for what the track has to offer, how you're going to really run your race here tonight, because like we talked about before, Josh, you don't want to go out and completely ruin your set of tires and just completely be lost in the back of the pack. So you got to be careful in what you do in the first few laps to really get a feel of what Richmond really handles here tonight.
And Richmond, of course, one of those tracks that is just known for having tire troubles and for pretty much everybody really struggling with those tires. So we'll see how all of that comes into play tonight. And we're glad to have all of you with us here tonight on Racecraft TV for all of the action that we are getting ready to put on. The Elite 8 elimination round, the Tudor's Biscuit World 150. The field gets ready to roll off here from virtual Richmond, Virginia. There they go, taking to the track. Because it is under a 1-mile racetrack, they will go ahead and take a grand total of 2 pace laps versus the traditional 1. So the field is going to get a little bit of extra time to warm those tires up before they take the green flag. Of course, the only driver coming into tonight with basically no pressure, Jordan, is the 23 of Stephen Thomas, but calling it no pressure, of course, because he is locked into the championship. But we know that Stephen Thomas wants to win whenever he is on the racetrack, and tonight is zero exception.
And, you know, definitely we saw him win back at Nashville Superspeedway, so Josh, I'm really thinking if Thomas is going to be able to pull out another win because he was really consistent there. He's been really consistent this whole season. He's only really gotten 2 wins out of this whole season so far, but I'm really thinking he's going to be the driver walking away with that that checkered flag here tonight.
Stephen Thomas has been one of the dominant drivers the entire season. Nobody is arguing that one, but he does not have the wins to back it up. He does have the overall points lead from the regular season, the overall points lead now, and being the only driver locked in to the championship round of the playoffs. We'll see who the other 3 will be joining him in Charlotte for the championship festivities. Pace truck gonna pull its way down and into the pit lane. Field in control of Jose Luis Rivera. The green flag is out. We are racing in Richmond. Battle for the lead already brewing, as you can take a look at it there. Michael McKinnon going to take a peek to the outside of Jose Luis Rivera. Very close to making that move happen and trying to complete it along that outside line. And it looks like Jose Luis Rivera going to be able to take advantage and clear him and move his way just back up into the race lead. A fast truck for Jose Luis Rivera starting out tonight, Jordan, with him qualifying on the pole and being able to power around Michael McKinnon in the 13. Looks like he might have the pace to walk away with his first career NASRA win.
Sitting comfortably in P1 right now, putting about 2/10 on Michael McKinnon, but the 13 machine is not done. He's really looking forward to try and take over that lead, but a great start for the 97 of Jose Luis Rivera to kick off tonight here at Richmond.
Blake Lothian continuing in the 3rd spot currently in his Toyota Tundra. We can go back a little bit further as we have a little bit of a side-by-side battle here. That's Logan Quinn versus Keith Bradley. Dana Shepard is side-by-side with Robbie Richards as well. This is a bit of a playoff battle because Robbie Richards is one of the drivers fighting for a spot in the championship 4. He's safe by about 14 points. So really tonight for Robbie Richards, just a handful of stage points is going to be all that he really needs to be able to walk away and into the championship 4, but definitely cannot have an easy race tonight. He'll dive to the inside of Adam Newbert to take over that spot. Still battling a little bit further up is here comes Stephen Thomas trying to work his way to the front. Jordan, he looked to the inside of Joey Doucette. Doucette gaining 2 spots from where he initially started back in P4. A great start for that number 16 machine as he goes to 4th place.
And that's what you want, especially here when you're two races away from the championship, just consistently running up to the top of the pack right as that green flag drops. So a great start for the 16 of Joey Doucette. Hopefully he can hang on for the rest of the stage.
Speaking of playoff drivers, whenever you see a playoff driver, if they have a yellow trim on their truck, mainly on the name, banner, and on the spoiler, that means they are a playoff competitor. If they are yellow on our timing tower, that means they are a playoff competitor. And if they have a green name, like Stephen Thomas on our timing tower, that means they are locked into the next round. Stephen Thomas, the only driver coming into tonight that is locked in. And speaking of Stephen Thomas, he's going to take a peek down to the inside on the 16 of Joey Doucette. Battle for 4th continues as they go through turns 1 and 2 over to the back straightaway. Thomas trying all he can to work his way around and going to be close, but he was not able to complete that pass. So the 23 of Stephen Thomas gonna have to settle for 5th place currently on the racetrack, and not too detrimental to him yet. Jordan, still a good place to be, but Stephen Thomas, we've talked to him post-race. He wants to lead every lap, wants to be the most dominant truck out there, and he is close to being that tonight. Just has a little bit more work to do as we go on board.
And you can just see the focus in his face right now, just really trying to run consistent, trying to stay in that top 5 to really walk out with a great outcome here tonight. And so he's doing it, making the 23 machine look really good, and you can see the great background of the Christmas tree and everything, so you can definitely tell Thomas is in the holiday spirit right now.
Very comfortable looking room as well with all that holiday spirit, and he's going to continue to race his way up and further into the top 5 as he sits in 5th. Battle for the lead, not much of a development really, except for the fact that Blake Lothian has gotten a little bit closer to this group. He's going to try and run with them now a bit, but taking a look a little bit further back, still a handful of close battles as we can take a look at Brady LaBeouf here. 10th place currently in the 9 machine. Bit shocking, really, to say the least, for the 9 of Brady LaBeouf, Jordan, I think to both of us, where he started pretty far in the back of the field. He started where he is currently in P10, was able to get up to 7th, but since then has been running here in 10th and might lose a spot here to Raul Meza. He's another one of those drivers who is sitting comfortably in the top 4, can lock himself in with some stage points, but still is not guaranteed a spot in the championship 4. This is not where he wants to be on the racetrack right now.
And that's the thing too, just because you're really in the playoffs doesn't mean you can really sit back and really hope you're into the next round, because you don't want to really run a race and just feel super comfortable to a point where you're thinking the whole race you may be good to the next round, but then if you get passed by a few drivers, you may end up not even making it to that next round. So I do believe we see that 9 machine really running up in that top pack every other race we've really seen, Josh. And so I'm pretty sure tonight he may just be trying to run his race, figure out the track, and see what line is that main line to really follow up the rest of the race.
We've seen LaBeouf, and he was racing very hard for a win just 1 week ago at Nashville with Stephen Thomas. Had it all the way up until the last 2 laps of that race. So he knows what to do when it comes to being at the front of the pack. Needs to still get there tonight. Already well over halfway done with this stage. In fact, we are getting close to going into the final 5 laps of the stage as battle for the lead has developed over and has swapped hands. Michael McKinnon up and into the race lead. Jose Luis Rivera might lose a spot now to Blake Lothian as take a look at who's up in P4 now. The 23 of Stephen Thomas is up into P4, Jordan. This is exactly where he's used to being and where we normally see him, and I think where he's the most comfortable at the front of the field, just past Jose Luis Rivera for 3rd, as Rivera goes from 1st to 4th in about a lap.
Thomas just lurking his way up into P3, trying to get up even higher. He's just got to make a pass on the 59 to really get to that back bumper of the 13, because it seems like the inside line is the main line everybody's running right now, and the 23 machine just seems so fast on it. He's had so many moves so far tonight. I think Thomas is going to have a lot of power following up throughout the rest of this race.
You can see a little bit of a battle now here with Taylor Peacock. Gets up to the back bumper of the 16 of Joey Doucette. Now Taylor Peacock is going to get loose off the exit of turn number 2. And he might lose a spot to Devin Painter now here as Doucette and Rivera are now going to go side by side. Doucette almost going to use the number 16 machine of Jose Luis Rivera up the track just a smidge. And now here comes Doucette back to the bottom to try and get that spot away from Jose Luis Rivera. He's unable to do it. As we see another change in hands at one of these front battles, as now Stephen Thomas is up and into 2nd place. Blake Lothian still sits comfortably behind him as they all continue to race. Just a handful of laps now left here in stage number 1. But Michael McKinnon off and into the race lead. He's going to work his way past the 17 of Brandon Bullock, put him 1 lap down. And a great run so far for McKinnon as we see a bit of a stack up here. Taylor Peacock going to try and go to the inside of both Doucette and Jose Luis Rivera. That's exactly what he's going to do. That's exactly what is going to work. There goes Taylor Peacock up and into P4. Now Doucette able to get by Jose Luis Rivera for P5. And now Devin Painter able to get by Rivera as well. Jordan, Jose Luis Rivera goes from the lead way down now into P7. Last time by, he just ran a 24 flat. Everybody else in the mid-23s on lap times. This has to be disaster for the 97. Has to be having some sort of issue in that virtual race car.
I was just about to say something has to be going wrong in that 97 machine, because he was running so well at the start of this race and to a point where he just fell all the way back to P7. So he is at least in the top 10, so he's going to get some stage points, but definitely not in the spot he wanted to be when he started this race.
Just like that, white flag out in stage number 1, and coming through the final 2 corners here at the virtual Richmond Raceway and across the line, it's going to be Michael McKinnon who walks away with the stage number 1 victory from Richmond. The yellow flag will fly. We'll take a short break here on Racecraft TV, but make sure that you're staying tuned. We still have a 2nd stage and the entire 3rd stage coming up. We've only completed 25 laps. We have 150 on the docket tonight, so stay with us here on Racecraft TV.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Hickory on a beautiful 80-degree Easter Saturday.
Welcome back to iRacing's virtual Richmond Raceway. You're tuning into coverage of the Tudor's Biscuit World 150 here in the NASRA Triple M Pulling Truck Series, live from iRacing's virtual Richmond Raceway. Joshua Lee here with you in the booth. Alongside me is Jordan Hicks. We're ready to go back to racing here on lap number 32, stage number 2, beginning here tonight. Stephen Thomas out of pit road first. He'll take the lead off the restart. Taylor Peacock behind him with Michael McKinnon, Blake Lothian, Devin Painter, and more as they work their way through turns 1 and 2 and to the back straightaway. A lightning quick start for Stephen Thomas as he goes off and away into the race lead. Taylor Peacock, Michael McKinnon, Blake Lothian, and McKinnon and Lothian having a bit of a battle here for P3 as McKinnon's going to fall a little bit from that restart as it looks like more issues in the back. Kyle Hess takes a trip through the grass here, Jordan. Let's find out what happened to him.
Curious to know if he might have gotten loose off of 4 or maybe something mechanically happened with the truck. We're going to take a look at the replay. You can see he's beside Jose Luis Rivera in the 97, going into 3 and 4, trying to run the inside. And yeah, just got a little loose coming off 4. Luckily, no damage for him, but it's definitely going to lose him a lot of spot on the track.
Yeah, just a slight moment of being loose there. That's all it took for Kyle Hess to spin his way over and into the grass. But Stephen Thomas comfortably at the front of the field. Blake Lothian and Taylor Peacock going to go for a bit of a side-by-side battle. Chevy versus Toyota. And Peacock trying to pull him on the outside line. Keith Bradley following the number 18 machine, or the number 81, excuse me, of Taylor Peacock up on that outside line. Doing a relatively good job of that as well as we go on board with Taylor Peacock as they work their way now back down the back straightaway. A great run for Taylor Peacock tonight. Started relatively far back in the order. We can now take a look off the roof, looking back at Lothian and Bradley. Like I mentioned, great run so far for Taylor Peacock, up 14 spots from where he started the night. So great to see him up here in P2. But how about this side-by-side battle behind him as we have a spin in the back? Devin Painter looks like he might have gotten turned up and into the outside wall. And that is going to bring out caution number 1 for an incident of the evening. Let's take a look at this replay here, Jordan. It looked like Painter got into, I believe it was the 13 of McKinnon. Here they are going through turns 1 and 2.
You can see trying to go up to the outside. They seem good as of where they are on the track, and contact made going into 3 and 4, and into the outside wall goes the 64 of Devin Painter. That is not what he wants, Josh, because he is one of those playoff drivers who had a chance to be advanced into the Final 4. So an unfortunate break for Painter. Hopefully not a lot of damage, just so he can make his way back out on the racetrack.
And that looked like, to me, McKinnon might have just gotten a little bit too hot into that corner. Oh, yeah, look at that. Just goes in a little bit too hot and ends up getting into that number 64 to his outside. Well, from that, we are now under our second total caution of the night, and the first one for an incident, as we only have now, as they come across the line, about 11 laps remaining here in stage number 2. Very quick 2 opening stages, 25 laps apiece. Then we're going to be going racing for 100 total laps here at the end for stage number 3. We'll see who can dominate that stage and walk away with a win here from virtual Richmond. So field working their way behind the official iRacing pace truck, and relatively good night so far for a lot of the drivers up front, Jordan. And Blake Lothian hasn't moved from 3rd place. Stephen Thomas leading the way. Taylor Peacock coming from P16 on the racetrack up and into 2nd. Keith Bradley from 8th up into 4th. But then you go all the way to the back, and we talk about Kyle Hess who just went for a trip through the grass off that restart. He's down in P15. Cody Knott, now Devin Painter, who was one of the drivers who was on the bubble of the playoffs, now down in P20. I mean, just disastrous races for a couple of those drivers, especially Painter, who, with that, now is, unless he can win this race, pretty much out of the championship four.
And even with that, that's a lot of pressure just to put on one person. So if Painter wants to get it done, I would have to say the damage may restrict him, because one bit of damage on those trucks can really impact the speed on your truck. And so if he can have a solid finish, he could satisfy himself, but just an unfortunate wreck right there for him, because that may have just ruined his chances to really go race at Charlotte next week.
And you can see a bit of the damage to that back spoilers. We are ready to go racing again. Green flag right back out, and Stephen Thomas pulls away to another good lead up at the front. They continue to fight behind him as to the back straightaway they go. Doucette and McKinnon are in a fight. Robbie Richards tries to get into it. Lothian and Bradley going to go side by side as Taylor Peacock tries to pull away from second place, but it's a bit of a hornet's nest back here, Jordan, with Joey Doucette and Michael McKinnon battling each other. Keith Bradley and Blake Lothian are up here battling. Lothian on the inside. Usually that seems to be the dominant line here at Richmond, but early on in these runs, that outside line seems like it can be used, but as you can see by Keith Bradley now having to give way to Blake Lothian, does not work for too long.
And I do feel like it switches out throughout laps, so you'll have people running the inside, then they'll switch to the outside, because it may just be faster for some drivers, because some may prefer that outside, some may prefer the inside, but we've seen a lot of drivers try and squeeze it right beside another driver on the outside, just keeping it as closest to the apron as they can. And so the way these drivers are doing it, very well done. They're just really trying to be as fast as possible. And you can see a little checkup for the 59 behind the 81 right there, but everyone is still pretty well close together with 45 laps already into this race, Josh. Everyone's doing a great job so far.
Stephen Thomas continues to lead the way. Lothian now trying to put a bit of pressure on Taylor Peacock ahead of him, as it looks like we might have a side-by-side battle brewing back here towards the mid-pack as Jacob Klinkart tries to get around Adam Newbert, who sits in front of him. We'll see if he can end up going for that spot. They stay side by side in front of him. That's Jose Luis Rivera trying to get back up to the front. Now trying to work his way past the six of Adam Newbert. Back to a side-by-side battle up at the front. That's Taylor Peacock going head-to-head with Blake Lothian. And Peacock was able to hold off the hard-charging number 59. Only 3 playoff drivers here in the top 5, and Joey Doucette's going to try and go for another spot and move up into P4. He's in a battle with Keith Bradley in the 18, who sits P4 up ahead of him. But Stephen Thomas leading the race here, Jordan, not the best thing for his playoff competitors, and I say that because with him in the lead, that takes out an opportunity for one of the drivers like Doucette, like Peacock, who are on the outside looking in when it comes to the cut line from grabbing the win tonight.
And that's the thing, they're just so eager to really just want to catch up to him, because he's already put 6/10 already on Peacock. So the 23 of Thomas is just really trying to run away with this victory tonight. And if I do recall, he did say when he won at Nashville, he wanted to win at Richmond. So whatever's happening right now, Josh, it's definitely in the 23's favor.
Great runs tonight for Stephen Thomas. He takes the white flag here in stage number 2. We'll be coming to the stage number 2 break this time by. Checkered flag is going to wave here of the stage, and Stephen Thomas is going to walk away with your stage 2 victory. Updates from pit road and more from the Tudors. Biscuit World 150 is coming up when we return. You're tuning in to live coverage of the NASRA Triple M Pulling Truck Series live on Racecraft TV. Don't go anywhere. 100 laps are still to go from Richmond. Welcome back to iRacing's virtual Richmond Raceway. It's time for stage number 3 of action in the NASRA Triple M Pulling Truck Series. We'll be going back to racing in stage number 3. 95 laps to go to be 94 and we retake the green flag. We're going to take you Racecraft TV sounds of speed, let you hear these trucks race around virtual Virginia. Stephen Thomas and Blake Lothian at the front. This is one of the first challenges for the lead that Stephen Thomas has had since the beginning of stage number 2. Keith Bradley is in this fight as well, as they all will battle for the race lead. A 3-truck battle at the front. And Jordan, this is big for Blake Lothian. He's not one of the playoff drivers. Neither is Keith Bradley. The next playoff driver down is Taylor Peacock in the 81, but he's not in this battle yet. This could change one of the scopes of the playoffs.
You can see Thomas just instantly diving back straight to the inside line to really try and power around the 59 of Blake Lothian. But he's got a lot of drivers behind him that really want to take that lead, because it's going to open the door for so many more drivers to really get locked in the next week, rather than Stephen Thomas just walking away with a win. So if these drivers are going to do it, they got much time, but they can't wait too long if they really want to open those doors.
So Blake Lothian is going to get away with the current race lead. Stephen Thomas moves into second place. Now remember, Thomas is locked into the championship 4 with his win 1 week ago at Nashville. Looking back, Keith Bradley not in the playoffs anymore. He was eliminated by 3 points out of the first round. Looking back to Taylor Peacock, he is currently on the outside looking in by about 9 points to the championship 4. So he's looking for a win to lock himself into the championship at Charlotte. Joey Doucette comes in. He's about 5 points below that top 4 cut line. He can get in with a win. So there's a lot riding for these playoff drivers that are up here at the front. How about Jose Luis Rivera? We haven't talked about him much since the beginning of this race, Jordan, but going back to P13, he currently is the last driver in the playoffs with 22 points. He needs to gain about 20 to get above the top 4 cut line on points, but with a win, he automatically locks himself into the championship 4. He was leading off from the outset through the beginning of stage number 1, now finds himself in the back, struggling to pick up the pace.
And I do feel like that 97 machine has the power. It seems like he had a bit of bad luck when he was running up there in the top pack with those guys. So maybe within a little more than halfway through the rest of this stage and more towards the end of this race, he may possibly might be able to get himself up into at least the top 5 to make himself feel a little satisfied. But you never know. Time will tell. Anything can open up for the 97 machine. He's only in P13, so if someone messes up, he can go for that run and really take over a bunch of spots in the matter of no time.
Still is one of the last drivers on the racetrack and is the last driver on the racetrack when it comes to the 8 playoff competitors. All 8 playoff competitors, however, are found inside the top 13 right now. Lothian, Bradley, McKinnon, Newbert, and Hess, the only drivers who are in the top 13 who are not currently fighting for a spot in the championship 4. taking a look and focusing on the battle for 6 between McKinnon and Richards, and not really going much in the hands of either one of them, as they're pretty much stuck in between Doucette and the driver behind both of them, which is Adam Newbert, and Doucette trying to find a way around Taylor Peacock. The battle for the lead has not moved much. Lothian has pulled away slightly, trying to pull away a little bit more from Stephen Thomas, but Thomas last time by setting a lap time that was about 7/100ths quicker than the current race leader, Blake Lothian. So Lothian leading the way, trying to hold on to that spot. Bit of a side-by-side battle back here as Brady LaBeouf goes to the inside of Adam Newbert and almost slides up and into that number 6 machine. And Jordan LaBeouf, another one of those drivers who I believe with stage points locked himself in, but still could use a good finish here to propel himself into the championship 4.
And we usually see him at the top of the field, so he has been making his way. You can see his lowest is 14th, so he's really just taking his time here at Richmond, because it does seem like that inside line may be getting a little more rough to run, because the tires are going to start getting used up a lot more. And in a little bit, Josh, I do feel like those pit stops are really going to start happening, and so this may open up for the 9 and may turn out to go his way to really get up higher in the field.
Now, everybody pretty much in the field made their pit stops through at the end of stage 1 and 2 in the stage breaks. The fact that the fuel window coming into tonight was about 104 to 106 laps, and these drivers chose to pit after 25, should tell you something about just how much these tires are wearing, even under the lights here at Richmond. We took the green flag some odd of maybe about 15 or so laps ago. The lap times have gone from mid 22s to bottom low 23s. That is how quickly these tires are going to wear themselves out, and the battle for the lead is starting to develop, probably because of a little bit more worn tires on the 59 of Lothian and the 23 of Stephen Thomas having a little bit of better tires. As we see the battle for the lead, Lothian versus Thomas. How's this one gonna go here, Jordan? Because Lothian, we've seen him have solid speed this season, still looking for race win number 1. However, this is one of his first times leading tonight after taking the lead away from Stephen Thomas off of the restart of stage number 3.
Still holding a bit of room between him and Thomas, so he's just really got to run his own race and not let Thomas get in his head, because once again, you don't want to let Thomas win, because it's going to close doors for a lot of other drivers. So the 59 is doing everyone a favor with really just trying to run P1 and just really hold off the 23. So if the tires don't wear it too bad for the 59, I truly think Blake Lothian could really hold the lead for a little bit.
Now with Lothian at the front, he's doing some favors for the playoff drivers, but really the last drivers that the playoff drivers who are not locked in want to see at the front is another playoff driver. Luckily, Blake Lothian is not another playoff driver, and they're fine with seeing Stephen Thomas at the front, frankly, because that's not going to take a lot of people out of that playoff picture. But if another playoff driver, let's say Logan Quinn, goes up and wins, that is going to take out the driver who is currently on the cut line, which would be Devin Painter. Or with Devin Painter being a little bit further down the order and losing out on a bit of stage points, that could change hands. Logan Quinn could be on the cut line and Painter could take somebody out. Doucette could take out Quinn again, and so on and so forth. Let's take a look at this small battle between Taylor Peacock and Keith Bradley, rubbing doors through turns 3 and 4, getting really aggressive for P6 on the racetrack here, Jordan. We know a good handful of these drivers like to race rather aggressive, and if you're Brady LaBeouf in this situation, you're feeling like a little bit nervous, because you're seeing two drivers door themselves in front of you, and all LaBeouf needs to do really is finish the race, and he's into the championship 4.
And that could be a lot of pressure, because you don't want to really get involved, because it takes one wreck for you to have nowhere to go and completely just lose your chance at doing it. So the 9 just really got to really run his race, and you can see he's trying to power on the inside The 81 gets a little bit loose. That's going to open the door for the 18 to go on by. So the 9 moves up a little bit more, and so he's going to slowly catch up a little bit to the top of that field, holding his consistent line as of right now.
A bit of madness there for the moment. First of all, Taylor Peacock got loose off of turn 2, stacked up the field. Then it was even more chaos coming down the front straightaway. But as they currently stand, no caution. We stay green. Nobody around and into the wall. And still side by side goes Newbert and Bradley. Looking a little bit up towards the front of the field. Doucette has now made his way up into P3. This is another great effort we're seeing from Joey Doucette. McKinnon's going to try and go back to the bottom of the racetrack. But Jordan, talking about Joey Doucette, he had an amazing drive at Kansas. One of the best drives of the season at Kansas. And lost out on the race win to Adam Newbert. This race win here will not only be his first of the season, this would be the race that locks him into the championship 4. But he lost a bit of speed there as the 13 of McKinnon goes on by, and now he's going to have the 48 of Robbie Richards all over his back bumper.
And just using that power that the 48 is giving him, you can see Richards is going to the inside. It's going to drop him a position down. Actually, no, it's not. He may lose some speed because it just seemed like the 48 just ran right on by, so maybe that tire wear is getting to the 16, but he seems as of right now pretty comfortable because he's sitting in P5, so not too bad for the 16 of Joey Doucette. Just got to hold his line, and who knows what could happen later on in this race.
He's losing a bit of time, about 2/10 that lap slower. Or about 5/10, excuse me, slower than Robbie Richards, about 7/10 slower than Michael McKinnon. So unfortunate tire wear for Doucette as Bradley and Painter are going to go side by side here. It seems like Keith Bradley, another one of those drivers struggling with the tire wears. Here comes Devin Painter down to the inside in the number 64, and they're going to get close going down into turn number 1. Hess and Peacock also going to get close. Almost getting turned was the 86 of Kyle Hess. Hess is now going to look to the inside of Devin Painter. Going to use him up the track a little bit. Take a look at this battle. 3 wide down the front straightaway. Peacock goes all the way to the bottom of the racetrack. And Devin Painter trying to hold strong on the outside line, and he's going to tap the wall. Kyle Hess going to have to dive to the bottom of the racetrack. But what a battle we are seeing here, Jordan. Now Peacock goes to the inside of Keith Bradley. These drivers are getting aggressive back here for P9.
And you can see how much they're really forcing their trucks to stick to that inside line and just to keep it off that outside wall. You can see the 18 going for a crossover on Peacock. They make a little contact, but luckily everyone is still good. These drivers are going crazy right now. You can see all the damage on that right side of that 81 machine. A lot of contact with the wall and with a few drivers, so we still got 61 laps to go, Josh. This race is just heating up.
Some great things we're seeing here. Let's go back to the battle for the lead. That has gotten close again as Stephen Thomas tries to take over this race lead. He is so close to grabbing that spot. He wants that spot. Big question is, how much is he willing to fight for it at this stage? On board with the currently second place driver of Stephen Thomas. Wondering, Jordan, just really how much is he willing to fight for this lead right here and now? Because we're assuming we're going to see another pit stop. Not sure anybody in this field can or is willing to go over 100 laps, or about 90 some odd laps on one set of tires. They can make it that far on fuel, but it's the tire wear that we're really worried about. So do you think Thomas is going to try and get this race lead away from Lothian now, or do you think he's going to buy his time, sit in second place, and kind of wait for the pit stops to happen before really making a move?
I'm wondering if the 23 is really waiting for the 59 to make a mistake on his own to really take that race win, because the 23 did say he's going for the win here tonight, so he may just be waiting patiently lap by lap. Still got 57 laps to go, so he's going to be waiting a while if he doesn't want to really go for that lead. But like you mentioned, the pit stops may be the way that these positions P1 and 2 might end up changing.
Back into turns 1 and 2, no change here at the front as they continue to race on in the battle for the lead. Thomas is getting close, but not willing to make a move just yet. We'll keep you updated as we go back a little bit further. Logan Quinn is in a side-by-side battle with Jose Luis Rivera. They almost door slam as Rivera is going to go up in a P12. Logan Quinn, who started back in 19th, still in a rather good spot compared to his qualifying effort in the 13th spot. But he unfortunately is going to fall to that spot and lose a bit of time as they almost came together off the exit of turn number 2 last time by. They're able to gather it back up and continue to race. We can go all the way back to P19, the last spot on the racetrack, and see what's going on back here. Raul Meza versus Jeffrey Sickles, and Meza is going to grab that spot. A little bit of a side-by-side battle as well between Dan Hagen and Dana Shepard, and Hagen's going to work his way past Shepard for P14 on the racetrack. So a handful of battles currently going on. Great to see all of the wonderful battles that we are seeing here tonight. And waiting on pit stops now between a lot of these drivers. Still battling for P12 is Quinn and Rivera. Quinn has gotten a little bit closer to Rivera as you go on board with the 44 of Logan Quinn. He wants that spot and he wants it here, and he's unfortunately going to get out of the gas really early here, Jordan. He got out of the gas before the hash marks even showed up on the racetrack, so I think Logan Quinn trying to save as much tire as he possibly can as the battle for the lead has just changed hands. Stephen Thomas goes to the inside, and new race leader, the 23. Not shocked about this one, Jordan. The tires finally went the opposite way for Blake Lothian.
The 23 is just going to continue walking away with that lead, already putting 2/10 on Blake Lothian. So the 23 of Thomas, he's ran his race. He's been up in the top ever since the drop of the green flag. So he's just got to stay consistent. When those pit stops come out, I'm thinking he's going to be one of the first few drivers to go in and try and really run away with that win or lead, because the 23 just wants it so bad. And he'd go back-to-back, so Stephen Thomas just really trying to make his plan really work for him tonight.
We're coming up on lap traffic as well. Here's the first driver to pit. Taylor Peacock is going to be the first driver to come into the pit lane. And he's a playoff competitor here, Jordan. I'm not one to really go for a strategy that could be detrimental, especially with so much riding for the 81 of Taylor Peacock, because he's basically now in a must-win situation, and being the first driver to pit is not the best story. And I believe that is his second time down into the pit lane. It's his third time down in the pit lane, so this is his scheduled stage number 3 pit stop. We'll see what happens to the 81 of Taylor Peacock. He blends back onto the racetrack right in front of your leaders. Wondering now who's going to be the next driver to come in. Is Adam Newbert able to pass Brady LaBeouf? Nobody else electing to come down into the pit lane yet. Exactly what I was talking about, Jordan. A strategy that could be detrimental. Taylor Peacock left out alone on his pit strategy. He needs drivers to start coming in soon, or else he's going to be left out on the racetrack.
And that's the thing too, you don't really want to be too early, even though it's your scheduled pit stop. A lot of these drivers may just extend it to get further and further on the racetrack just to make the laps go down a lot faster and then go into the pit lane. So I'm curious to know when the drivers are going to really start coming in one by one. So everyone seems like they're really staying out right now. So maybe in the next few laps, we will see some drivers come down on pit road.
Now remember, they are not pitting for fuel. Nobody in this field needs to pit for fuel again in this race. They are pitting for tires. Tire wear is great here at Richmond. Great in the meaning that it is substantial. So they need to come into the pit lane. Lap times down by around a second and a half now throughout the entire field. And the Ware's going to get to a point where they need to pit. It got to that point for Taylor Peacock. Hasn't gotten to that point for anybody else yet in this field. We'll see if we get to that point sooner rather than later with a good majority of the field. Dan Hagen is in a little bit of a battle with Logan Quinn. Hagen going to go down to the inside, and a great move for Dane Hagen here if he can get around Logan Quinn, but a great move around the outside for the 44 of Quinn. He's going to hold on to that 11th spot on the racetrack. Nobody else has elected to pit. It's 42 laps to go. And Taylor Peacock probably now wondering, what on earth have I done, as he puts himself just even further down the order. P20 currently, and especially Jordan, when we get to that point of the end of the race, he is now going to be on the oldest tires of anybody in the field. That is the opposite of what Taylor Peacock needed.
And it's just going to throw a lot of stress on him because he was having a great race, and just like that, it just shows how fast your race can be on your side or completely not even close to being on your side. So, one, he's a lap down, and two, there's a lot of drivers not even coming down on the pit road. So, he's just a sitting duck with nobody following him into pit road. So, it's just an unfortunate move for him, and it sucks because there's nothing he can really do about it.
Kyle Hess and Devin Painter traded spots. Logan Quinn, Keith Bradley just traded spots. And here comes the next driver into the pit lane. Devin Painter is going to be the next taker. Bit surprising to see Devin Painter be the next taker into the pit lane, but he is in, and he is going to grab service. So, the 64 is going to have a new set of Goodyear tires on that race truck. Now wondering, when is the leaders going to come in? When are we going to see the 23 of Stephen Thomas come into the pit lane? Devin Painter is going to go all the way to dead last, P21 on the racetrack. 36 laps to go next time by. Time very quickly now running out. And assuming everybody is going to pit, nobody else has elected to come into the pit lane. So that leaves Painter and Peacock, the only two to pit, and they were 10 laps apart. And the entire field now getting relatively spread out. Closest gap on the racetrack is this second place fight between Lothian and McKinnon. And it looks like the 97 Jose Luis Rivera is going to elect to come into the pit lane. We'll stay on this battle for second place as Devin Painter tries to find a way around it. The fresh tires on the 64 going to help him to power around both of these drivers. Left to go to the inside here for the 59, but that also helped a little bit into the 59's favor of getting him a little bit further up the road from Michael McKinnon, but still not enough. McKinnon gonna have to fight from third place to try and get around the 59. And he makes a peek to the outside. It looks like both of these drivers struggling with their tires, so that's going to lead to a rather slow battle as another driver came in. That's Jose Luis Rivera. Nobody else yet has pit. Dane Hagen is going to work his way around Keith Bradley. To the inside goes the 39 on the 18. And just as we swapped over our cameras to that battle, battle for second changed hands. Michael McKinnon and Keith Bradley, or sorry, Devin Painter is around on the back straightaway. Caution flag is out, and this is going to change everything when it comes to the pit stops, Jordan. Now a majority of the field can make them under yellow.
As if the bad luck ended for the 64, it struck back to him right away, and you can just see trying to go 3 wide and just clips the 43 and into the inside while he goes. a very, very unfortunate night for the 64 machine. Just a lot of stress and unfortunate moves happening for him, which might call his chances at next week's race.
It was just... wasn't even harsh contacts. Wasn't even a driver he was racing. It was the lap driver to his outside that he ended up unfortunately making contact with. It just is so bad for Devin Painter, and going into the championship 4 as well, he's most likely not going to end up racing in it now, as everybody comes down into the pit lane wondering who is going to stay out. We saw a handful of drivers did already make their pit stops, but they are trapped 1 lap down. So this is basically going to gift these drivers a free pit stop, 30 to go, and we are not going to see anybody touch pit road unless we get a yellow flag. Stephen Thomas wins the race off of the pit lane, and that is definitely going to change things on the racetrack, because now the 23 is Stephen Thomas leading the way. Pit stop over. Any driver who already pitted, I mentioned, was trapped a lap down. Only one of them will get back to the lead lap. That is Taylor Peacock, and he will take a wave around. So detrimental for the drivers who already pit, and Stephen Thomas is in prime position to lead us back to the green flag, try and walk away with a race win. Short break on Racecraft TV. You do not want to miss the conclusion to the Tudor's Biscuit World 150. It's coming up right after this break.
This is our series,
So many different pieces that you have to watch out for.
where the stakes are always higher,
$300,000.
where virtual meets reality,
How bad do you want it? They're wasting no time getting at it.
where the best thrive and the flawless win. This is the NASRA Coca-Cola iRacing Series.
This is iRacing, the world's premier online racing game. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat to experience today's newest form of competitive motorsport, virtual racing, all from your home PC. Race virtually in indoor series from NASCAR, IndyCar, IMSA, the World of Outlaws, Aussie Supercars, and more. Take on legendary circuits like Daytona, Silverstone, and the Nürburgring. Join iRacing's global online racing community and get on track today at iRacing.com.
Time to go back to green. Only a handful of laps left. 27 to go from virtual Richmond. Stephen Thomas in control of the field. And we are back underway. Blake Lothian going to try and go to the inside of Michael McKinnon. Side by side for second. And Lothian is going to grab that spot. They continue to race to the back straightaway. Look at Robbie Richards, one of the drivers trying to move himself into the championship 4. He tries to go to the inside for P3. Joey Doucette fighting for the back, and around goes Brady LaBeouf. Kyle S is involved. Raul Meza and more. The yellow flag is going to refly. And just like that, Brady LaBeouf caught up in an incident, and now his championship hopes, Jordan, are going to be on thin ice.
Just a huge tough break for him. A lot of drivers involved in that one. You can see they're coming off of... Yeah, you can just see everybody just bumper to bumper, just smashing into each other, smashing into the wall. An unfortunate break, especially for the 9 machine. Here we go, on board. Just coming off the exit of 4, and he gets loose, and into the outside wall he goes. Everybody around. Unfortunate luck for that 9 of Brady LaBeouf.
That got about 3 drivers involved in that one. We'll go on board with Raul Meza, see how he got caught up in this incident. Onto the front straightaway, there's the 9 getting loose. Oh my, just right in front of him. Nowhere for Meza to go. So not only will this put us back under the yellow flag, but now we're going to have another restart. This also is going to hurt Brady LaBeouf in his hopes for a spot in the championship 4. Jacob Klinkart's going to grab his lucky dog and go back to the lead lap. Stephen Thomas, Blake Lothian, Michael McKinnon, Robbie Richards, and Adam Newbert round out the top 5. Jordan, at this stage, Blake Lothian was able to get back into 2nd place, but Stephen Thomas, we've seen him in a lot of restarts this season be one of the strongest drivers when it comes to restarts. He's going to need a strong one here to pull away from Blake Lothian, because I think with the 59 versus the 23, Lothian has much better short run speed. Stephen Thomas has better long run speed. So with a short run of about 20 laps to the finish, Lothian might be in a prime spot to walk away with his first race win.
And he's been super fast all night long. We've seen him battling with Thomas pretty much since, I would have to say, halfway through stage 2, maybe even the start of stage 2. So the 59 really wants that win bad. Even though he's not in the playoffs, a win is still great, and it could just make you feel good about yourself going around the track, just walking away with a victory. But he's got a fast competitor in front of him. Stephen Thomas in the 23 looking for that win. As soon as that green flag drops, Josh, the timer ticks to that checker flag.
Lights will go off atop the iRacing pace truck next time by, so we will go back to racing with exactly 20 laps to go. And I don't think we're done exactly witnessing the fireworks tonight. It has been a wild night here from Virtual Richmond. We had a long run at the beginning of stage number 3. Then an incident came out during the pit stop cycle with Devin Painter spinning around on the back straightaway. Then this incident with Brady LaBeouf and a handful of other drivers involved in it as well puts us back under the yellow flag, and this is the 3rd caution for an incident tonight, 5th total. And excited to see how this race is going to finish. Lights go out atop the iRacing pace truck, and we're gonna see who will walk away with the win tonight. Jordan, who's your money on the 23 or the 59 at the front? Or do you think somebody else is going to come up from the inside of the top 5 or top 10 to walk away with that race win?
I have a feeling it's going to be the 23 of Stephen Thomas. The 59's there, but I want to go with the 48 of Robbie Richards. He always seems like he gets them to the top part of the field near the end of that race. And yes, the 23 is leading this race, and yes, the 59 is good on those short runs. But I truly feel, with the power that 48 machine has, I feel like Robbie Richards can walk away with a victory here tonight.
Here we go. Green flag back in the air. Blake Lothian on the back bumper of the 23 is Stephen Thomas. They dive into the corner. And driver shuffling around and up and into the wall goes the 48. Robbie Richards goes into the wall. Caution flag is going to refly, as I believe more drivers were involved. Yes, they were. Taylor Peacock is involved. 2 playoff drivers gets involved here in another incident off of the restart. And Jordan, this one has playoff implications for more than just one driver.
And it just seemed like a whole bunch of contact. You can see the 48 trying to get around the 13, and contact made there. Unfortunate, and just everybody having nowhere to go on that outside line. And just a whole bunch of carnage. Not even half of a lap done before we drop the green flag again. So an unfortunate break for the 48, and just a hard hit on that front end too. It's just so much damage. You can see from the inside of the 26 machine of Cody Knott, everybody seems good, and then right about there is when you may question if you're gonna have room, and right there you go into the outside wall. You can see the 81 of Taylor peacocked around too, so tough break for a lot of drivers in that incident.
17 of Brandon Bullock also getting caught up in this one, leads us back under the yellow flag. Now this is cautions breed cautions becoming a real thing here tonight, as we have not made it a lap under green since the Devin Painter incident, and we went back to racing with about 30 to go. So we'll see when we are going to get another green flag run. But all this is doing now, Jordan, is giving less time for Blake Lothian to try and work around Stephen Thomas, which I mentioned Blake Lothian's short run speed. I think this is going to help him a little bit, because the 59 tonight on the short and sweet runs has been one of the trucks to beat. So if he can use the low amount of time to his advantage and not let him stress him out, we could be looking at the 59 going away with his first career race win. We still need to get to that point, but would not be shocked if we see the 59 being one of the trucks in victory lane tonight.
And I do believe he was one of the drivers who led most of the race back all the way in Texas. So the 59 of Blake Lothian really trying to get his first win here tonight. And like you said, just take advantage of that time. 17 laps can be short, or it could be long, depending on how you really think of it. So the 59's got to really get a good restart on the 23 and just fight from the green flag all the way to the checkered.
Lothian did dominate that Texas race and got taken out from the race lead by a late race pit cycle and ended up losing out on the race win. 48 Robbie Richards, who's just involved in that incident, was the driver who walked away with that win. So, getting ready to go back under the green flag. Lights should be out on the pace truck this time by, and this is going to be an interesting run to the finish. Of course, assuming that these drivers give each other a little bit more room and we can actually run a couple of laps under the green flag. We're going to see a bit of a dash to the finish with 14 laps to go, and the entire hand of this race completely changed with these cautions, Jordan. So we thought it was going to be a long green flag run to the finish, really drawn out after the pit cycle. Now they've only got 14 laps to settle it. That is shorter than the opening stages of this race.
It's going to be a lot for the drivers, especially in P1 and 2. So as soon as that green flag drops, we may even see a position change. You never know. It depends on who gets the best restart.
Let's find out. Ready for that green flag to come right on back out. And there it is, green flag back in the air. Stephen Thomas gonna run away with that top spot. Lothian gonna try and fight from second. Adam Newbert to the outside of Michael McKinnon. That's in the battle for third. Lothian's not going to be close enough to try and make a move for the lead. Look at the back end of the field as Logan Quinn's gonna get turned and up and into the outside, and caution is gonna come out. He's gonna tag Eric Zimmerman off turn 4. And the caution flag is going to refly, and this time it looked like, Jordan, a 3-wide moment coming through the turn number 3 down the back straightaway. Quinn hits the wall, and look at Taylor Peacock, 3 wide to the bottom. Clincart tries to run the middle and ends up tagging the 44.
And you can just see the driver on the inside gets tagged there. So it looks like we may have made it a lap, but I'm not too sure. But that's going to bring out the caution, which is just going to keep moving time lower and lower for Blake Lothian to try and take over that race lead.
Now it's Eric Zimmerman that got tagged and up and into the outside wall. So we go back under the yellow flag, and continuing now to see the 23 of Stephen Thomas at the front of the field, and giving him more time to be pretty comfortable up here at the front, as we have gone from going from about a 25 lap restart to now we could see a run to the finish being about 9 laps. So mention time running out for Blake Lothian in the 51, Jordan, but I think this is only going to make Blake Lothian more aggressive to walk away with that race win. And take a look at who's now joining him up here at the front. How about the 6 of Adam Newbert? Remember his late race charge when it came to the race at Kansas, and he was able to walk away with that race win, I believe, after only leading the final lap. Adam Newbert could be a spoiler to the party as he started back in P18. He's up 15 spots to P3 at the moment.
Definitely a good run for him. And you know, Josh, now that you say that, I wouldn't be surprised because he's got that power, especially like you said, in the late race towards that checkered flag. We've got 11 to go, but we're probably going to go back racing with, I would think, about 9. So that's not a lot of time. So that may open up a door for the 6, just a full charge and go for that P1 spot to get past the 59 and the 23.
Lights still on the pace truck, so we're actually going to be going green with about 8 to go. There should be 2 laps to green here. Want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight to Racecraft TV for the Tudor's Biscuit World 150 for the NASRA Triple M Pulling Truck Series, the elimination race for the Elite 8 round of the playoffs. And Stephen Thomas, your current race leader, is locked in off of a race win from 1 week ago, or 2 weeks ago, excuse me, at the Nashville Super Speedway. We'll see if any other playoff driver can get the win tonight. Lothian, Newbert, and McKinnon, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th are non-playoff drivers. The next playoff driver, other than Stephen Thomas, is Joey Doucette, who sits in P5 at the moment. We'll go back to 2x2. 8 laps to go when we go back under the green flag. If we end up seeing another yellow flag, that'll lead us into close to about 4 laps to go. If we see another caution from there, we're going to be heading into overtime territory. We'll see if it ends up getting to that point, but at the moment, we're ready to go back to green as Stephen Thomas will be in control of the field once again, with Blake Lothian in 2nd, Adam Newbert, Michael McKinnon, Joey Doucette, the top 5. And we are ready to take that green flag once more. Green flag is out, 8 to go. Thomas gets a great start. Lothian gonna try and fight from 2nd, not going to be enough. Is gonna get close. How aggressive is Lothian willing to go for his first career NASRA Triple M Pulling Truck Series race win? 7 to go at the line. They get aggressive further on back. We stay with the battle for the lead. 7 to go. Lothian can get close here, Jordan, but Stephen Thomas has been so strong tonight, and he's being defensive on that inside line. Lothian might have to get the bumper out to make this race win.
The 59 just trying to keep it down low on that inside line. It seems like the 23 is just really sticking it to the bottom of the racetrack. You can see right here, Thomas just really dives it in and just keeps it sticking. The 59 is just really trying to follow that line. He's got 6 to go. It's not a lot of time, but only time will tell. And the 59 could potentially take the race lead, but he's gonna have to do a lot, and the caution flag flies. And it seems like Joey Doucette is around, involved with a few others in turn 3 and 4. Not too sure what have happened with those 3.
Well, we are going into green-white checkered territory, and unfortunately it was a handful of playoff drivers that looked like they were involved in this one. Drivers looked like they were playing bumper cars back here, and down and into turn number 3, Kyle Hess comes up in a clean cart. It looks like Peacock got into Doucette. And just a lot of bumping. Oh my, and Doucette trying to get turned around, slams into Cody Knott and Robbie Richards. But taking a look further back, we'll go back one more time. Drivers getting very aggressive back here. The 16 got into the 13. The 81 got into the 16. Then the 16 tries to go down to the inside to protect the spot from Taylor Peacock, and there's contact there. sent Hess into the wall, sent Clinkart into the wall, Jose Luis Rivera into the wall. So a lot of drivers caught up in that one. But this is going to put us into overtime here, Jordan. And I think we can pretty much call Stephen Thomas the master of restarts now, as he has been perfect on pretty much every restart, has kept the lead. He's definitely in the catbird seat for a win here tonight at Richmond.
And he, right off the restarts, he puts at least a car on the driver behind him. And so the 23 has been nailing, I would say, these 3 restarts ever since we've gotten into the 20 to go range. And so the 23 has got to hold it up. He's got to make this restart count and hold off the 59 to walk away with a back-to-back race win.
And we'll see how this overtime restart is going to play out. Remember, we'll have multiple opportunities at an overtime restart tonight, but this will be attempt number 1. Of course, normal green-white checker procedures are in effect. We'll take the green flag. If no caution is called on that green flag lap, once the leader takes the white flag, that race is official. And the next flag that waves will be the checkered flag. First attempt of 2 for a green-white checkered finish. And lights are still on the pace truck. Will be 2 laps to green. A lot of playoff drivers caught up in incidents here late, and we can throw the timing tower up on the screen and just show you where all the playoff drivers now run. Jordan Peacock's in 6th, Rivera in 9th, Quinn in 12th. This is going to be pretty much a toss-up for who makes it into the championship 4, because now the only driver that we know is guaranteed is Stephen Thomas. Basically every other playoff driver getting caught up in incidents tonight.
Definitely one of the most destructive races, I would have to say, for these drivers, because usually you see them a little closer than they are right now. But there are 4 cars in between both Thomas and the closest playoff driver, which is Peacock. So if Peacock wants to get up closer, he's got a lot of fighting to do, but only 3 to go. When the flag drops, there's 2 to go. So this is going to be an interesting restart here from Richmond to finalize who's going to make it into that final 4.
Stephen Thomas will be in control of the field. Blake Lothian to his outside. Remember, we still have another attempt at a green-white checker if we see a caution on this green flag lap. Thomas, Lothian, Newbert, Bradley, and McKinnon in the top 5. Stephen Thomas is off and away very quickly. And they cross the start-finish line and dive back into turn number 1. Very aggressive goes Stephen Thomas. He wants this race win, and Keith Bradley's going to get sideways through the middle of the corner. He's able to save it. The battle is at the front. White flag this time by. Who is going to walk away with the win? The white flag comes out. 1 lap to go here for the virtual Richmond Raceway. They dive back into turns 1 and 2. How aggressive is Lothian gonna get as they come through the final corners, turns 3 and 4? Lothian is not going to dive for it. He can't do anything. Out of the final corner, race win, 2 in a row, and 3 on the season for Stephen Thomas. What a win for the 23 of Stephen Thomas tonight, Jordan, and he takes the maximum amount of momentum that he can into the championship 4 as he sweeps the Elite 8 round of the playoffs.
And he definitely kept his word. He said at Nashville Superspeedway he wants to win at Richmond, and look where he is. Victory lane at Richmond, doing some donuts for everybody watching, and just a great way to walk into that championship race.
He did exactly what he needed to do and is burning it down now here at the virtual Richmond Raceway. We'll take a look at your full finishing results from tonight's race. Stephen Thomas grabs the win with Blake Lothian in 2nd, Adam Newbert, Keith Bradley, and Taylor Peacock rounding out your top 5. Michael McKinnon, Jacob Klinkart, Kyle Hess, Dana Shepard, and Jeffrey Sickles will round out your top 10. Looking further back from there, it will be an 11th place finish for Logan Quinn. Jose Luis Rivera will finish 12th. Raul Meza, Joey Doucette, and Eric Zimmerman, the top 15. Cody Knott, Robbie Richards, Brandon Bullock, Brady LaBeouf, and Dane Hagen round out your top 20. 21st is Devin Painter, and that rounds out your full field of drivers as they finished tonight. But what festivities, what a race that we saw tonight from the virtual Richmond Raceway. And this is only going to bring a ton of momentum for Stephen Thomas into the final race of the truck to beat in this championship. He's going into the championship 4 as the favorite, and rightfully so. He's been the most consistent all season long.
And he's just got the power and the tracks down just so well, to a point where right off the restarts, he's putting cars behind him second by second. So going into that championship race, Josh, I feel like he's going to do the exact same thing he did here tonight and exactly what he did at Nashville. I feel like Stephen Thomas is going to do what he wants and just walk away victorious and walk away with this championship next week. And it's just going to be one to remember because he definitely put on a show every single week.
But I definitely think he's going to have a bit of a challenge because obviously we're waiting on full confirmation of who exactly the championship 4 will be. But off of that, looking at the schedule and where we're running the championship 4 race, it is at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Stephen Thomas, with a race win at Nashville, a race win at Richmond, and a race win at Gateway, hasn't showed a race win at an intermediate. He showed speed, but not a race win. We'll see if he can change that at Charlotte. And he's joining us here in the broadcast booth now. Steven, what a win for you. You're going into the championship 4 with a ton of momentum, but let's talk about tonight's race here at Richmond. How is that truck feeling tonight?
It felt great, man. I've had this one circled all season, man. This is my home track here, and I have had it circled for a long time.
And going through tonight, it looked like you had a bit of a challenge with Blake Lothian, with a handful of other drivers throughout the night, but ultimately in the end, you had the truck to beat. Did you feel more confident over the long run? Because it looked like once we got over that tire hurdle that your truck really came alive towards the middle of stage number 3.
Yes, I was super pumped that we had a long run tonight, man. This league is getting awesome. They have been doing great as far as, keeping it green flag for a long time. So, yeah, I was looking forward for the long run, knew that was my strength, and it paid off.
Going into the championship 4, what kind of operation are you bringing, and where's the confidence level at going to Charlotte and intermediate for the championship 4 finale?
I mean, it's super high, and I just hope that I could do 3 in a row. That would be amazing. But it's going to be a fast and very fun and hard place to win at. So I'm definitely nervous going into next week, especially with how everything has gone all season as far as, holding the lead the whole season and then doing this going in. I really hope that I can pull it off. I'd hate to lose after all this, but I've had a great time and this was fun.
You're coming in with the head of steam. Good luck in 1 week's time in the championship 4, and hopefully we're talking to you in the championship victory lane.
Thanks, guys. Y'all have a good night.
Great to hear from Stephen Thomas, and a great race win coming in with a ton of momentum for the championship 4. We now transition over to Blake Lothian in the number 59. He walked away with his best finish of the season, second place for you tonight, Blake. And you were so close to a race win. Looked like you had the pace on the short run, but Stephen Thomas ultimately ended up in victory lane. But how was that race from your perspective down in there in your Toyota Tundra?
I mean, I thought we had a pretty good race truck. It seemed like I had decent long run speed, but just didn't have anything for Steven there. So felt like it was a good race on my part. Didn't want to do something stupid for the win, dump him for the win. He was a playoff guy, so don't want to do something stupid like that. But stuck with the motorsports, brought us a really great Toyota Tundra. So Millie's Restaurant, Toyota Tundra. So really thankful for that. A really great run today.
Going through tonight's race, you didn't have the best qualifying effort, still qualified P3, but behind Rivera and behind a couple other drivers there, behind Michael McKinnon, who started in second place. Going through that race, did you change anything on that truck to make it a little better? Did you just need to get into the run of the race for that number 59 machine to come alive?
I just need to get into a rhythm. I ended up moving the brake bias back a good bit, lock it the right front a little bit. So I just had to kind of get into my groove there, figure out how much tire sipping I needed to do. That's pretty much it, though. Once I got into a groove, I felt like I was going pretty good. So yeah, just had to get into the groove.
One race left at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Will we see you there competing in the number 59? And what is your confidence level at? And it's the championship 4, but you're still going to be on the racetrack fighting for a race win.
Of course, the goal is always a race win. I'll definitely be there. Hoping for a race win, obviously. Haven't had one this season, so hoping to change that next week.
Thank you for joining us here post-race on Racecraft TV. Blake, congratulations on your best race finish of the season, and we'll see what you can do at Charlotte in one week's time.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. Gotta thank Stick With It Motorsports, Millie's Restaurant and Catering for sponsoring this truck, Smith Lawn Care, POTUS ABC Kids, Venture Wipes, Little Park Media. Without them, this could be possible.
A great finish for Blake Lothian, second place for him, his best one of the season. And we transition over to Adam Newbert, a third place finish for him in the number 6 machine. And Adam, coming off of your race win at Kansas, seems like you've been pretty much unstoppable in that number 6 machine. Of course, it's not a race win, but close to it. What was missing in that Ford F-150 tonight that prevented you from racing for the win with Steven and Blake?
We just didn't have the short run speed. You know, we were more of a long run truck. Didn't really get enough of a long run there at the end with all those cautions, but they were just way faster than I was too. I was really lucky to get third. Didn't even think we were going to get third. Wasn't even sure if we were going to get the top 5, but just kept hanging in there and picking them off one by one, and just capitalizing on everybody else's mistakes right there.
Going through this race, you mentioned having a more of a long run truck. Were you ever trying to adjust it to make it a short run, or did you think, like us in the broadcast booth and a lot of your fellow drivers, that it was going to be a long run to the end through stage number 3?
Well, before we got that last caution around 50 to go, I was it was 30 to go. I guess it was 30 to go. Kind of hoping it was going to just go green there towards the end. But on the shorter run, you trying to adjust the brake bias for the fresh tires and trying to get all that set right and adjusting the brake bias as the run goes on to help the handling of the truck.
Going into Charlotte in 1 week's time, your one race win was at Kansas and intermediate. Do you have a little bit more confidence going into Charlotte that you can be the championship 4 spoiler, walk away with the race win?
It would certainly be nice, but one thing I don't want to do next week is get in the way of one of those final 4 drivers. I definitely don't want to ruin their races or cost them a championship. So if the opportunity's there, it'd be great, but definitely not going to try to run over any of the championship 4 to do it.
We'll see what you can do in 1 week's time, Adam. Congratulations on your 3rd place, and thank you for joining us here post-race.
Thank y'all.
Great to hear from all top 3 of our finishers tonight. And Jordan, as we continue with this campaign, we're going to a track that is a completely different set of skills, and the Charlotte Motor Speedway. From a short track to an intermediate for the championship, these drivers are in for a handful. It's a bit of a deceptively simple racetrack.
It's going to be one to remember, and it's going to be one to watch. So these drivers are going to go at it next week, and may the best driver win.
And we'll see which of the championship 4 will end up walking away with the championship here in season 3 of the NASRA Triple M Pulling Truck Series. We'll be crowning a champion for the 3rd time. And we're just as excited as all of you watching at home to find out who is going to be that champion. We hope you'll tune in 1 week's time from the virtual Charlotte Motor Speedway. It'll be live here on Racecraft TV from green flag to checkered flag for the final race of this season. For Brady LaBeouf at the North American Sim Racing Association, for Josh Edmondson at Racecraft TV. Car and track cameras tonight were created by Istvan Ballo at TrackCams22.com. And for my colleague in the booth, Jordan Hicks, my name is Joshua Lee. Thank you so much for tuning in to live coverage of the Tudor's Biscuit World 150 from virtual Richmond. We hope to see you in 1 week's time from virtual Charlotte as the Championship 4 compete for the Triple M Pulling Truck Series Championship.